Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and those are visuals of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in Rashtrapati Bhavan. She is meeting Draupadi Murmu ji, the President of India, who's also the custodian of the Consolidated Fund of India. The highlights of the budget, well, as customary, are first shared with the President of India. The Finance Minister briefs her about what are the big ticket items in the budget. If I just could be a fly on the wall, but no flies are allowed inside Rashtrapati Bhavan, especially from the media, other than the cameras. So we don't quite know what is being briefed there, but the visuals of the Rashtrapati and Finance Minister there. And there's a bit of a history that's coming out about the sari that is worn by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Seems like a Madhubani from Bihar, Hina Gambhir. You've got some details on why she's wearing this?
Well, very, very interesting details, Navika, that we have managed to access. And like we were discussing, nothing in politics is without a message. Bihar elections are coming, and this sari is a tribute to Madhubani art. This cream color sari with golden border. If you look at it closely, it has got Madhubani art at the border, and it is a very, very special sari that was gifted to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman by Dulari Devi, in fact, who is a 2021 Padma Shri awardee. And at the same time, I'll tell you the backstory here. So in 2021, Dulari Devi won Padma Shri, and Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman visited Madhubani for a credit outreach activity at Mithila Art Institute. And, she met Dulari Devi there and had a cordial exchange of thoughts on Madhubani art in Bihar. And Dulari Devi at that time, Navika, had presented this beautiful sari to Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, and she had requested personally that please wear it on a budget day. And today, she has decided to wear this sari on the budget 2025.
Well, Nirmala Sitharaman ने दिल रख लिया दुलारी देवी का. हमारा दिल रखेंगे नहीं, because all our viewers this morning want to know taxes का क्या होगा. Do you think this Madhubani sari has a message which is overemphasized, and what about the taxes?
No, I don't think one should look too deep into Madhubani sari and placating Bihar voters elections. अब ऐसे कल को कहेंगे minorities के लिए कुछ नहीं क्योंकि बुर्का नहीं पहना निर्मला जी ने. I don't think there is any correlation. But Navika, I want you to please, I am begging you to give me at least 30 seconds on something that we did not discuss, and I think it's very important. What does the budget actually ultimately achieve? And I'm talking as a layman because there are plenty of experts out here. I'm not. To me, it needs to concentrate not on the SOPs or financial thing, but on transforming the means of production. That is what we should be looking at. And I'm afraid no political party has the guts to look at. Let me give you an analogy. If you are asked to run a TV channel, I have already been asked to run a TV channel, and have been doing it. And I've been doing it for a while. Great. But if you were handed the responsibility of running a TV channel, but you weren't given a camera, you weren't given a studio, you weren't given anchors, would you still be able to do it? Yeah. This is the problem with socialism. They give people fish, and when they come to teaching people how to fish, they give ramshackle trawlers. The problem with agriculture is, unless we improve the means of production, there is no point in having 80, 90, 100, 200 million people into farming. Socialists and, Soviet Union era Pol Pot economists don't realize this. Let me give you one example. Did you know 70 million hectares of Indian agricultural land has been damaged through water, floods and drought in the last 6 years? That's almost 40% of the land. Did you know that our rice production capacity is 4,000 kilograms per hectare, one of the lowest, 50%. Maize is 25%. Our export refusal rate is 6 times that of China. 30,000 people die of pesticide poisoning. We have 70 million tons of food that is wasted. We have 30% of fruits and vegetables that are wasted. Unless we do those reforms, What's the point of people going into agriculture more and more? Socialists must realize this. It is
Absolutely.
harassing.
I agree with you.
Gives
I
is
agree.
of China. The comparison that he makes is with China. So we just need to, the comparison that you just made. Look at China.
There is no argument that, the way we do our agriculture has to change. There's no argument.
To make more investment. Exactly the point. That you invest more in agriculture.
But right now,
you go against farm reforms then.
absolutely. And right now, what we are interested in also knowing is, apart from the sectoral issues, of course, what matters most is what we were also talking about is you and me. The middle classes, people who go out to work every day, people who come back with a salary, people who've got children to educate, people who have home loans, EMIs, health insurances that they need to do for, people who do not come in, the category where you're important in terms of a vote bank, but people who have to look after themselves. The middle classes. And I want to bring in Sumit Singhania from Deloitte to give us a sense of, realistically, are we expecting any changes in the tax slabs? Are we expecting, there's a lot of song and dance, but it's the first year post-elections of the third term. Do you think there is incentive for the government to announce any changes in the tax slabs? Will they do it? Does the economy require it? Of course, the middle class definitely needs it. Yeah. What do you think?
Navika, all of us sitting here in this studio are expecting that to happen, right? I'll actually refer to the previous section where Mr. Subramanian mentioned that the case for middle class to get some more relief is very strongly made, right? So current tax slab rate of 3 lakh, up to 3 lakh, there is no sort of taxes. Then the 5% tax slab kicks in, up to 7 lakhs, then 10% and so on and so forth. If you look at the way the middle class gets taxed, especially the salaried taxpayer, there is a case that the highest tax slab should apply at above 25 lakh rupees. Now, that's quite a bit of swing to happen from 15 lakhs to 25 lakhs. Will this budget have the ability to do that in one shot, or can this be staggered over next 2 or 3 years? Right? That's the only economics that can be worked out. But should the expectation be that the tax slabs will go up progressively for each tax rate? Answer should be yes. I would expect at least the exemption limit should go out, if not more, by at least by 1 lakh rupees, from 3 lakhs to 4 lakh rupees. That's the minimum. The fiscal deficit numbers are there for us to see. There is a wiggle room this year, fortunately. Hopefully, this will be the year when government could do a significant adjustment in the tax slabs. That's for the salary taxpayer. But the government at the same time has to also incentivize the private sector investment, right? And we heard about the corporate tax, biases in favor of the corporate taxpayer being tax rates lower than the individual taxpayer. And that's all for a reason, right? We can't just compare a 17% tax rate for corporate to a 30% tax on the individual taxpayer.
Why can't we?
If you look at
because the private sector investments haven't really kept pace with the goals that were set, with the expectation that was set.
But the expectation also, Navika, is the private sector entrepreneurs will create more employment, right? As an individual taxpayer, salary taxpayer, you don't create more employment. You are the employee, right? So look at the different macroeconomics of it.
But then the tax net is also not increasing. It's 2.81 crore from the 7.5 crore people who file tax returns. That hasn't changed.
You're spot on. That is the thing that government is going to work on, how to increase the voluntary compliance. If you look at, and the different sort of parameters, number of people who are traveling overseas, number of people who are buying expensive cars, that's far in excess of 50 million in India as compared to number of tax returns which get filed. I think it will not be done by lowering the exemption limit. It will be done by doing the governance reform, right? How do you make sure that everybody files their tax return?
So Sanjay Jha, your party has been, in favor of literally beating up the entrepreneurs, the wealth creators in this country. As an economist, as a former banker, do you really think that is the formula to increase, the collections of the government and to increase the GDP growth rate?
Navika, I'm glad you asked me that question. I think the party I support, and personally my own view, is that India and the Congress party is supporting industry, liberalization, reforms, modernization, privatization, whatever you call it. The problem is that Narendra Modi's government has blatantly played the game of creating national champions. And this is the root of the reason why private investment is also suffering. Nobody will tell you that. Nobody on your panel will call out this truth. When you have a situation where a country as big as India, the entire growth is handed over to 6 or 7 business groups, can you imagine the way it undermines confidence of many players in the industry who believe regulatory risks rise because a new player comes in who's a favored blue-eyed boy of the government, and things will be disrupted to favor their business? You think that will increase confidence? If supposing on the panel right now, there are only 1 or 2 people who feel they'll be heard, do you think the others will feel very buoyed when you come to them for 30 seconds? They
GVL
won't.
Narasimha Rao.
That's the reality.
GVL Narasimha Rao, after saying they actually support private sector, the charge against you is that you support only 6 or 7 people in the private sector. Please respond.
I know this is a political narrative that the Congress party has been trying to build over the past few years, trying to mislead the people of this country. And at least he said 5 or 6 people. Rahul Gandhi would only name 1 or 2. And it's the same businessmen and industrialists whom all the Congress governments will quote. Rajasthan, Karnataka, wherever they were in power, all the state governments, now Telangana, they would go to the same industrialists. And it's a political hypocrisy, trying to use it as a tool to hurt the BJP politically, but they have failed. And this is the only budget, as Honorable Prime Minister mentioned yesterday, this is the only session, Parliament session in a long time where you have not had a sort of a conspiracy or some kind of a scam coming out of some foreign media.
Don't say it too soon. Don't say it too soon. Sunday ke baad Monday aayega. Maybe something will be cooked up tomorrow. GVL Narasimha Rao. Don't be disappointed. But Mr. Mehrotra, why do you think what GVL Narasimha Rao is saying is wrong? Why?
Well, first of all, I think he should read, and all BJP walas should read, a paper by someone who they appointed as Deputy Chairman, Deputy Governor of the Reserve Bank of India. It's a Brookings paper. It's based on Indian data, Annual Survey of Industries, and which says the following. It's a 2023 paper, that 5 corporate houses have expanded their control over sectors horizontally, and within those set of sectors, they have also grown the depth of their power and their ownership. What is the meaning of that? This is demonstrated through data. You want to question the data? Please go back to the NSSO. Let me finish the last sentence. May I? The last sentence is as follows. This gives them a certain market power, which he also again demonstrates, which actually has raised inflation rates. And one of the reasons why core inflation rates remain higher than what the RBI itself had been recommending is this. That market power. It's called market power.
You know, 4 hands going up. I'm sorry. 4 hands going up.
This is just wrong.
I know you raise your hand first, but the lady gets the priority.
Food inflation has been high. Core inflation, in fact, has been low. So I'm not understanding where this data is coming from. And the other question is, every country celebrates
being fed to Nirmala Sitharaman. I recommend ज़्यादा खिला दीजिए. Tax slabs में हमें बहुत कुछ चाहिए.
No, do we want to celebrate our wealth creators? Do we want to spread wealth, or do we want to spread poverty? I think those are fundamental questions we need to ask ourselves as a population, that what are we doing? Socialism, communism is spreading poverty. Power belongs to a tiny elite, whereas the market approach will look at wealth creators, getting the whole country up the income.
Who are not investing in wealth creators, not generating the
jobs. Anand Ranganathan, you know, if you hear Mr. Mehrotra, you would think that there are 6 people who are making money, who own everything in this country. What about the startup story? What about the story of individuals?
Startups are closing down. They're not generating jobs. Sorry. Startups are closing down.
Andhakar hi andhakar. Yes, Anand Ranganathan.
This is the problem with socialists and champagne socialists. They don't understand what is the reality on the ground. If they are saying that everything, all the businesses in India are being controlled by Adani, okay, then they should tell their superiors in Kerala, Vijayan, Bengal, not to give 10,000 crores worth of ports and mines to Adani. वो करे ना, मतलब स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स अदानी को प्रमोट कर रही हैं, उसको पैसा दे रही हैं, वो चलेगा, लेकिन मोदी प्रमोट करे इक्वालिटी में किसी को आना. अब GMR was given the Delhi airport to make. Did it have any experience of making airports? No. But Manmohan Singh gave everything's fine.
Sanjay ji, please answer me these 5 top companies that you're talking about, and out of these 5 companies, which ones were those that were not doing business in the Congress regime? Please name them.
Navika, hang on. You're missing the woods for the trees here.
No, you are.
Question,
you are.
1 minute.
Because you weak, you know, your 9 p.m. arguments at 9 a.m. sound absolutely out of place, because these are the same business houses, the Tatas, the Ambanis, the Adanis. They were doing business and they were, wealth creators even in the Congress regimes.
Okay,
so what are you talking about?
Can I answer you?
Yes,
can I answer you?
Yes,
please. I will give you just one example to explode and explode the BJP and some of its extremely passionate cronies here right now on your show.
Yeah, your cronies also, last I heard.
In 2022, the Indian stock market grew at whatever level. 80% of that growth came from one group in India, the Adani group. Can you imagine how blatant the hold over the market is? And that is the problem.
Dharmesh Kant. Dharmesh Kant is the equity research person. Dharmesh Kant, is Sanjay Jha's statement right or wrong? Can you tell us as per the facts? You are not a politician. You are not even Godi media. So please respond.
Yeah. Absolutely wrong. It's been a very secular market, and there's not one group which has benefited from the market. I see Nifty index.
आप डरे हुए तो नहीं है?
Talking about the market.
Are you scared that there will be an ED raid? Is that why you are saying what you are saying?
No, not at all.
You're lying.
No, not at all. It's a data fact. It's a fact.
What are you saying?
I'm very surprised to see the wrong data being represented.
I mean, you don't know your facts.
Oh, you know more facts than an equity research guy. You're an ex-guy. He's the present guy, and your facts are better than him. But let me get in Suman Sinha of Renew. Well, we've lost that connection. We'll go back to him. But Dharmesh, you've said he's wrong. GVL Narasimha Rao, experts from equity research markets are saying Sanjay Jha is wrong. But Sanjay Jha's 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. arguments remain the same. Something at least stable in this country?
No, Navika, Congress has this knack of peddling lies and repeating them across all media platforms to make people believe their untruths. But unfortunately for the Congress, their lies have never found traction with the people. You see, the government does not, there are regulatory bodies that regulate all activities on stock market. Finance Ministry does not run the BSE, does not run stock markets. And if there are, if a particular group has, a particular industry conglomerate has achieved higher growth, they might see a bigger increase in their valuations. But how does that matter to the government? The government is only worried about the overall growth in the economy and a balanced growth across all sectors. Governments want proper distribution of wealth to the needy sections. And what you mentioned, Navika, these are not, we don't see them as freebies. Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat, you can't call it a freebie. It's a major health sector reform, making health accessible to common man.
That's not being called a freebie, GVL Narasimha Rao. The 2,500 rupees, the 2,100 rupees, the Ladli Behna, etc., that's what is being called the freebie. But that debate apart, the fact of the matter is, yes, the economy is slowing down. Will Finance Minister come back with a recipe to rev that up? Will consumption be revved up with some amount of tax relief coming in for the middle classes? What will be there for the rural sector? Yes. If demand has to increase, it has to come. If consumption has to come from the rural sector, there needs to be, something that needs to be addressed in this budget. But the biggest issue that is being awaited, are we going back to an era of reforms, or are reforms going to be literally put out at the altar of vote bank politics? That is what we are going to be looking at. Those visuals of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman leaving from Rashtrapati Bhavan and making her way to Parliament, where she will present the budget to the cabinet first, and then the budget presentation coming up at 11 a.m. Well, we'll come back with those visuals of Nirmala Sitharaman reaching Parliament and the customary photo opportunity there. For now, we'll slip into a quick break. Back soon.